Okay, so UN75 is a scheme that's been put forward by the UN. Somewhere I've got some spiel about this. Essentially, the world is facing a lot of problems which are global problems. Climate change is just one example. You can probably think of others. Anybody think of any other global problems the world's facing?
Epidemics.
Nuclear power.
Any more?
War.
Although we haven't got a global war, and maybe that's because of the UN being there.
Yeah.
Although you could argue that it's because people have got nuclear weapons and they're just frightened to have a big war. Anyway, any more?
Climate change.
Climate change, yeah, absolutely.
Poverty.
Yeah, inequality, yeah. Mass migration. Climate change is going to lead to mass migration. Environmental degradation. Sea level rise. There are lots of global problems. And when you get people like the wonderful president, whose name I forget, who says, sod you, I just want to look after my own interests and get re-elected, whatever happens, that is not going to solve global problems. No individual country can go off and ignore everybody else and just be selfish. That just makes matters worse. So we need to build a consensus. We need for nations to work together, and that's one of the issues that UN75 is designed to address. And the way it's going to work is that there's going to be a global dialogue. The UN's describing it as the world's biggest ever global conversation on how we shape our future together. The UN is conducting a mass listening exercise to capture people's hopes and fears for the world and to crowdsource solutions to global changes. So in other words, the opinions and ideas that you put forward this evening, I will take and feed them into the United Nations. They will then look at your opinions and lots of other people's opinions and put together proposals which will then be put forward to world leaders and to the UN leadership. So that's what we are going to do this evening, is to answer some questions that the UN is asking. So the impact is that it will have, well, hopefully world leaders will begin to listen to what people are saying. I mean, they're already listening, aren't most of them anyway, aren't they? You know, Greta Thunberg has had a huge impact, but she's not really saying who should be doing what.
Yeah.
She just says, you governments need to do something. The question is, what should they do? And is it just governments? Because governments are only one part of the story. The international community, the NGOs, consists of many different agencies, and they all need to work together and take on new responsibilities. So UN75 will feed in to this process and generate new ideas. So, I haven't done this before. It's only been launched this year. We haven't run a conversation before, so this is sort of a pilot. I'm guessing it would take less than an hour. What's the time now? Well, so we're supposed to be finishing at 8, so maybe we've got an hour and a half. I guess when the speakers come, they're going to take some of that time, but we've got about an hour. At the end of this process, I'd like you to write down what you've thought about this, what's been good, and I'll go through what feedback we're looking for at the end. Your feedback will help us to shape this, because we'll be doing this again throughout the year. And hopefully, We'll be doing it with, within universities, within schools, within businesses. With councillors. I mean, again, I've invited all the city councillors to this. You can see how many have showed up. Not a lot. But, their opinions should be of some relevance to this, because it's not national governments who are going to solve the problem. We all need to work together. Okay, so the end of today, we're going to launch this and test the format. We're going to collect your opinions and submit them to the UN, and hopefully what we would like you to do is promote this within your own communities. So #UN75, and the @join UN75 is on Twitter. I don't know if that works anywhere else, but that works on Twitter. So that is the Join UN75 is the group that's organising this, the UN group that's running this. So if you can, and one of the things we would like you to do, because you're going to be sitting around these tables having conversations about 8 different questions that the UN wants us to answer. And while you're having those conversations, I'd be very happy, although I don't know if this is feasible, for you to just create a 30-second video of what you think about this particular issue, and that will then be fed into the UN's publicity to try to get other people to respond. So you are sort of pathfinders in this whole thing. If you don't want to do that, of course you don't have to, but it would help. That's, again, one of these things that we're not very good at here in this, in the UNA Coventry. And as I said, we want to get feedback on whether this works. So, would you please respect the opinions of others, listen to what other people say, give them a chance to talk, in other words, don't interrupt, give them time. If you disagree, criticise the ideas that they raise rather than the individuals, and avoid inflammatory language, if possible. Right, now, I need to capture this information so I can send it to the UN. Now, you could all sit and write stuff down, but then I would have to just sit and type it in. So what I've done, I've created a survey, an online survey. So if you use your smartphones, hopefully you've got plenty of charge in your smartphones, and you go to survey.un75.uk, survey.un75.uk, you will be able to, after having your conversations around your tables, you'll be then able to put in your ideas onto that survey, and that will save me having to transcribe what you've written. If you don't get time to do that survey, to write everything down, you can continue it afterwards, tomorrow or later. It doesn't have to be done today. None of the questions are compulsory, so you can miss out bits that you don't want to answer. You can go backwards and forwards, and until you go to the final page and click save, the stuff you put in isn't saved. So be careful that you stay in that survey until you're finished. Once you've saved it, you can then go back to it and edit it later. So I guess the safe thing to do would be to go through to the end today, save it, it'll give you a link to how you can go back again, and then if you want to add more, follow that link. Is that clear? But be careful, because if you don't go to the end and save, or submit, I think it's you lose the stuff you put in, which would be a shame. Some of you might not want to do that, so we've got two alternatives. One is that you can write your thoughts on bits of paper. You'll find that each question has got a number, so all you need to do is write on the bit of paper what number you're answering, and then I will transcribe it. The other alternative is recorders. We've got 4 recorders, voice recorders, and you could, if you want, record your answers on these recorders. Any questions?
Can I just ask, the name UN75, is that to mark the anniversaries?
Oh, sorry, yes. So this year is the 75th anniversary of the start of the UN, absolutely. And essentially what they're trying to do, as you'll see in a minute, is to say what do we want the world to be like by the centenary, by 2045, 100 years after it was founded. 25 years from now, what kind of world do we want? What are the problems about getting there and how are we going to overcome those problems?
And what about the video? Like, can I, for example, wake up in the morning tomorrow and do the video?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. Or any other day.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you're going to write on, anybody intending to write down their answers on this paper? No? Yes? So can you make sure you put the question number in? I hope your smartphones are all charged up, because this lasts an hour and mine would be flat. Yeah, so I've mentioned all questions are optional. Okay, so the first thing they want to know is, who are you? Who was the group? Because I've got a report on this whole thing. So, I mean, I've got a pretty good guess that you're all higher education people, you are professionals. So the questions are, what's your level of education? So I would say higher. What's your gender? So mixed, male and female. And what's your occupation? I would say professional and managerial. But if you want to, the first set of questions on that survey asks you those things. But it's fairly straightforward with that. Yeah. So what I propose that we do is skip over that. Anybody want time to fill that in?
It doesn't leave any room for volunteers. It assumes that everyone is in work.
That's true.
I'm not.
Write that down, Aaron. Because I'll send that feedback to them. Because one of the questions they ask is, was this good? Were these questions they're asking good? And I should put exactly that.
Yeah.
Good thinking. So that's question 1. Question 2. What kind of world do we want in 25 years' time? So you're being asked to write a paragraph, a few words about the kind of world. But these are the kind of questions they want you to think about. What would your ideal world look like in 25 years? How would it be different from today? Oh, one of the questions I haven't put up there is, what would a typical day look like in your ideal world? So, I mean, you got the survey now. So
I'll do the survey, so I've got it on my phone. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to have a conversation about this, or do you just want to write down what you think? What are you doing? Are you writable, Marcus?
I'm left now. I promise, I can't write.
Do you want me to write for you?
Yes.
Or you could record it.
Marcus, you got a face for the camera? You got a face for camera?
Of course.
Okay, so I guess what you need to do is think what you want to say. What kind of world do you want in 25 years. What kind of world do you want?
A world without fossil fuel.
A world with that? Say it again.
A world without fossil fuel.
Okay. Anything else?
That's true.
Okay.
You can make the video. If you like.
Yeah, we could do.
This is next band.
A few things. Last time, there are a lot more to say.
If you want to use this
Yes,
to record, you just push the button up,
yes,
and then when you finish, you put it down.
okay.
I think it'd be better to have a discussion.
Uh-huh.
Have one side for and one side against. And let's try and be a bit controversial.
Good,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
here.
everything.
That would be a bit more interesting.
I think I need like
Yeah, because some people are against,
to write.
some people like Trump. He may,
So
I don't know what they're
that is
from.
2 years.
he may be for but Trump.
Where climate change does not affect our daily lives.
I mean, ideal.
Yeah, that's the ideal.
Marcus, is you driving? Is you driving?
I tried to write it out. I tried it.
Like,
I'm not far from here.
Where do you live? Coventry.
Yes, I'm just
So what?
15 minutes from here.
That's
What do you
easy
do?
to go.
I'm at uni.
Oh, you're at uni?
Cool.
I think that's probably the biggest issue,
Oh, yeah.
isn't it? That's the
Exactly.
most important.
I'm destroying the world.
No. Okay.
I mean,
Really?
there are lots of other issues that you can think of.
Fossil fuel.
What level are you?
Inequality.
Last year? Okay, cool.
I mean, they say that inequality is increasing, so people are getting richer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to do maths.
You don't want to do maths?
No.
Why?
Geology.
Yeah, so
Maths is one more year, you get,
Look, I already did it for the 6 years, spent already.
I understand.
Another year.
What was your first degree? Psychology?
Geology.
Geology? Okay, there'll be a change with the oil. and
Yeah.
so-
And we just returned from,
an ideal
China.
situation would be.
China.
I think the key factor for this is actually like education. So
What
to
would you like to do?
invest in
What would you like to do
education.
in the future?
I think none of this would,
Our own
not
company.
none of
Have your own company?
yeah.
a little bit
Fossil
less
fuel company or?
amount of people.
Let me get a recorder.
In the water, we have to do the renewable.
I think that alongside with access to
That's the way
medical,
forward.
Yeah.
support,
Absolutely, that is like,
education, and
this should be, this should have made, right?
Is that where you're from? You're from Bangladesh?
No.
The basic things.
Belgium.
And
Okay.
there's so many people who don't believe that. There's so many people who say, no, you
medical.
should be respected because it's not respected.
Obey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
So
interesting
now
story.
no one knows.
Interesting story.
So where did we start from? Climate change, yeah?
Yeah, climate change. Life without fossil fuel.
Yeah.
We were 4 in the class trying to put together
Inequality.
Yeah.
4 classmates.
Access to
Okay.
medical services and education for everyone.
One
It's a right, but
police,
it's not respected.
one from Belgium, one-
I don't know.
Also quite
And then what were you
international.
saying about
Yeah,
politicians? I
four-
think
four-
that was-
Yeah.
say it again.
different run groups, yeah, different.
I'll work with politicians actually listen to climate scientists and activists.
That's quite cool. My background is I've just finished, I finished my master's in international human rights last year. So now I'm working for like social justice, social welfare, and housing, and social housing.
You're working on it?
Yes, yes.
Where do you work?
I work in housing, like social housing.
Okay.
So I finished my master's and I started here in August.
Dedicate their whole lives to
No, no, after United Nations Association.
Are you okay?
not only
Okay.
this,
so
but more than
we didn't start.
exactly.
I don't need to start
Because it's not
2016,
enough
so
just
right
to
from the
listen.
beginning.
The
Yeah.
important thing is to
No.
do something about it.
So when it
Raise
first
awareness
started,
about it and then
well,
not
how
only
would I
raise
miss
awareness,
that?
but actually
Oh, well, a lot of students.
work towards
We're
reaching
coming,
the
a lot of
goals.
students will come.
because now it's something that's
We'll leave that
We're
one.
going down,
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect.
and now I'm just
Did we
trying to think
mention
of
about
different
the
projects that we can get involved in.
What do you
Yeah.
Where we can
think?
pick those numbers back up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because it does
yeah.
have a lot of potential, this branch and this organisation.
I got a friend that they should have come tonight, but
Also.
I told them too late.
Yeah.
I don't know, 6 guys.
Yeah.
Most of the climate change still want to come. But they end up getting Marcus to raise our time. We want to stop one next week, so tonight. So we get it out. We get out and talk.
Maybe next week.
Then look, I'll get them. I'll get them.
Because we have monthly meetings, and now
Okay.
because we've got this commission's quite a high figure.
Yes.
So hopefully we can try and create, do monthly meetings where every month a new guest comes.
Yes.
And that's maybe how students can look at this person, get
People like sometimes free time. Like what we do, I have another society, it's called Employability Society. We go to about free pizza.
Instead
Just
of
so that discuss.
There's a lot of other people of South America and Asia.
that's very important.
Get people like first time.
English.
There are a lot of people they don't know about the
They
association.
made
I talk
Africa
with
to be
friends.
like the project in
Exactly.
like
Put us something to collect the budget.
Education should be
Pizza,
the most important
something
thing.
somewhere. Just put it, look at it.
I mean, you don't hear about it, I'm sure you're
Yeah.
sure you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Pizza at this place.
also because also because the
Look
colonizers
at like that. Like Employability yesterday.
there's the
After I came from
loyalty, you
Leicester
really don't know how
yesterday,
what to use
the Employability had a meeting yesterday.
and
Pizza
also
on the market. I was like, there are a lot of people that sign to there in line. People-centric society.
I think
So we're going to find some more strategy.
obviously
They put computer society.
Next
I
level.
think that would be a way forward.
Yeah.
This is numbers of
Now is the right time because people just coming.
Yeah.
Students just starting. It's the best time to engage.
I'm just thinking of different ways because, I want to take over and I see children, a lot of students, they're just thinking, okay, what can I do? So I'm thinking, okay, we can come here along and, get in debates and lectures and so it must be somewhere we can get involved in and how best to control that. This kind of stuff is quite hard. You sit down and not talk, I've been talking.
No,
I would imagine
the way we follow,
there will be a little
discuss.
bit more
Because you've been talking, it's an
educational
association of say things and their
like
feedback.
what is literally the planet Earth and where we are and
Yeah,
what
if
we
you don't-
should
if
do
you
and
don't
what's
turn
our
it-
responsibility here.
I won't see
Because I guess it's
It's like
like
the right hand.
this life comes without being really
I want to have a
to
conversation.
see what you should do.
Nothing, I don't know.
What is your responsibility.
Well, the idea was to get people around the table
Really
to
be here.
have a
So I guess,
conversation, but these,
I guess
there's a lot of those people.
the biggest project
Maybe
that
there's some
would
of those
be
should come
involved
over
in
here.
at some point or something
What do you think?
in the world helping that would be to introduce
Not the best copy in the
sustainability
No.
kind
Do we
of
join the
action
table?
in, not only that,
Do we
but
join the
this would
table?
be my main thing in the schools. So as well as anything else that goes around, whatever, English, maths, engineering, chemistry, biology, whatever. That should be an important thing, that should be everything. Should
We're
be
supposed to have
a responsibility that everyone has. Parents, children, anyone.
Also, the problem,
they haven't been what they're supposed to do. Before they made a business. And then the embezzlement has a public, like, openly.
To manage our resources.
Not something allowed to happen.
So we've started the conversation.
yeah, but
All right.
here, it's coming back to
And
education.
then over there is like.
No,
They have that
One
So the
to
class is running.
Yeah,
it's a UN
And I guess it's
conversation.
about
Like here.
when you get the power and when you are out there and you have the decision, like in your hands.
And then they haven't done anything.
We had an engineering.
They have no electricity.
All right. So, do you want to join the conversation? So,
my name is Mohammed Abdul.
Actually, system.
I finished my master's in international human rights.
yeah, so we're saying what kind of work we want.
Being injustice-free.
Social housing, social
And then,
So this is Matt, he's the professor at the university. Mary, you know, African signatories, which is a big thing in Coventry, to
Are we supposed to
Just we
work
bring
together?
together different communities and celebrate.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you don't, because no one's from there.
Okay, all right, good.
No, I haven't
So
come
we've
across it.
started,
But then I'm not
so with UN.
Thank you very much.
What would be different from today's?
All right.
It's ideal for you.
So who is your contact person?
Yeah, she mentioned that she has to be corruption free.
So we're planning to.
I mean, if I had
Okay, so this is the UN is trying to have a conversation about what future people and how we get there and to overcome the issue.
No, we actually can say that.
That's not,
So we've started this
we are here,
conversation.
like, first of all, I don't like foreigners, I feel like, I don't feel like I'm from any of these I've never
All right. Yes, yes, no, yeah.
We just mentioned in one country, even this at least Nigeria cabinet.
So what we're going to do is finish off this part of the conversation.
But why is serious?
I remember when Mugabe was president right now.
Yes, yes, doctor. He's imitating Mugabe. He's imitating Mugabe.
He's even worse than Mugabe.
Nada, no te español.
So bad. At least in Nigeria, the resources.
Yes.
That was hard.
But do you think if you have what is Syria have that's from it?
But see, the problem is, you don't, there's nothing to do with their corruption. Yes, what's this?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you.
What we're going to do as well, because we've got these 8 questions we need to answer. So we have to move on.
That's why we're not.
So hopefully you've either recorded your thoughts on the recorders, or you've written something down on this survey. We've written it down on paper. Okay. Could I suggest that a couple of people from that table move on to this table, because we've got half an hour to continue the conversation. So, and maybe we'll move on to the back table. Is that okay? And then, do you want to?
How many do we want?
So should we just divide the room in half, basically?
No, we want, I think, small tables. You're going to have better conversation in small tables. So if a couple of people could move on to this table. Is that okay?
Oh, so you'll move it like this?
Yeah. We can sit here and
Does anybody have any questions for our next one?
Do we want smaller groups or do we want less groups?
So I think the basic idea is just one group for Dr. Matt and one group.
No, because in a big group, you know, most people sit listening. If you have smaller groups, you get more conversation, don't you? That's the reason we've got 5 tables out.
Yeah, so some of us.
Well, I'm going to sit with you guys.
So are we feeding back, are the groups going to feed back?
Challenge
So
you.
the process is we've got an online survey.
Advocates
Is everybody settled in a group? So there is an online survey. If if you go to, on your smartphone, if you go to survey.un75.uk, you can fill in your answers to these questions, or you can write them down on paper on all these tables, or I've got recorders and you can record your answers. But what we're trying to do is collect people's answers to these 8 questions, which I will then summarise and feed back to the United Nations, so that they can then start planning the future. And they will also be fed back to the General Assembly, the nation states.
That's it.
So it's survey.un75.uk. Okay, question 3 is, if current trends continue,
What do you prefer?
what will the world be like? Will your grandchildren have fewer or more opportunities than you had? Will they be better off or worse off? So there's a whole series of questions
You look at the answer to the question. Okay.
about, we decided, in the same question you decided where you want the world to go. Now we're trying to decide where will the world actually go if current trends continue. We just let things go as they are. Where will we end up? What's likely to happen in 25 years' time? That's the question.
It's interesting you're saying this, depending on where you are at the moment. That's probably correct. That's probably correct. I don't know whether a parent in Shantytown in South Africa would basically say the same. So many of those questions depend on where you are. So but that's a typical academic. I would answer every question. It depends to an extent. Let's say if you would put a hierarchy to, let's say, first climate change, then when you achieve that, climate change, would that then mean that, let's say, physical violence would grow if we don't at the same time look at sexual violence, drugs violence? So I always try to complicate things rather than say, what's your ideal? Climate change, and then they're going to that's easy to achieve. So yeah, and you will, the world is divided in many ways. So for me, the ideal world would be an undivided world, and not be divided on whether we first go for nuclear arms, climate change, or human rights, or sexual violence, or equality. But again, that's not a nice idea. The basic question is how do we get there, and why haven't we achieved? So I'm sure I agree with her. The UN Charter is absolutely a nice document if you read it. It's 75 years old, by the way. No, seriously, nothing had changed in the UN Charter. It's 75 years ago. It was written up. Well, yes, but things are changing all the time. And if you're a lawyer, you're just looking at the tax and you would say the tax hasn't changed. If you look beyond it, you see that the practices have changed. Maybe for a private person, 52 states. A lot of states were looking independent. Africa, Indonesia. Now it's 190 states. Yes, 190. In 1945, you had Security Council, Assembly, Transition Council, International Court of Justice. Now you have UNHCR, UNOP, ODC, UN. There are hundreds. It has grown, and you already see that even the UN is not a monolithic body; it's divided. UNODC tries to get the money for drugs and crimes. UNDP tries to get the money for development. Human rights tries to get the money for, and you can because money is scarce. If you want to maintain your organization, you run for that money. And what I always, I think is kind of interesting for myself, sometimes it's just called talk, it's quite different. We talk about cooperation, but the walk is competition. Everything is competition. Games, or soccer, or going for the money, or going for the jobs, or going for the better grades. But the talk is we can only get to the better world if we cooperate.
Okay, so have we got a consensus about the future? Will the world in the future be better than it is now if current trends continue, or will it be worse? Who thinks it's going to be better?
I had the point there.
Who thinks it's going to be worse? Okay, so that seems like a consensus to work.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
are,
that was question 3. We haven't got much time, so I'm gonna try and move on so you see the whole set of questions. As I said, there's this online survey, so you can fill in complete the survey in your own time. So, if these current trends continue, what would be the impact on, and then there's a whole series, they're asking a whole series of different questions. I want you to pick up to 3 of these. What would be the impact on climate and environment if we carry on as we're carrying on now, burning fossil fuels? If we carry on, what's going to happen to poverty and inequality? New technologies, so this is artificial intelligence, social media.
That's indeed quite interesting.
What will happen to population?
With every solution you come up with, you create
population. We've got population growth.
We can't envisage them.
We've got an aging population, we've got migration and urbanisation.
We know a certain way.
What will be the impact of the current trends on those activities? What about security? So we talked about nuclear weapons.
There is an African continent and an African identity.
What's likely to happen if we just carry on as we are? And then finally they're asking about breakdown of trust
very quickly
between governments,
when they go to
people and
the
governments.
UK, that are quite
So,
different.
those are the questions. There's obviously not going to be time to answer all those in detail, but if you pick one of them,
you get this.
talk about it on the table.
These differences, and you already see this in South Africa, you know,
Okay, and again, we've got limited time, so I give you
and how
less than 5 minutes to talk that through.
people start
Okay?
pointing to what
I see your point, yeah.
So indeed, my idea, absolutely, I knew the Europe where I had to travel to Rome and had to show 7 times my passport. I know I get in the train, my kids get in the train, and just go. So I would absolutely, that would be my ideal job. I would close my eyes, I would complicate the consequences of it. And because you want mixed cultures.
Any other?
Which is, with my
kids, would not matter at all.
So,
just thinking about that, I was like
if we are
cultural progress, you create more conflict, misunderstandings. And I think that is what I try to do. So when you come with a solution, I basically argue against it and try to see what's the problem with your solution.
In terms of environmental issues and climate change, the level of water that is in the...
You can pick one of those and say what's going to happen in the future
like
if we just carry on.
precipitation should be around 90, usually for January, and at the moment is at less than 10%. So it's a huge discrepancy before what it used to be and what it is now. Maybe this is going to affect the cultures during the summer.
Corruption is not in there, is it?
No corruption is not human rights.
Maybe it goes under crime.
Corruption can also be a cultural thing. Yeah?
Oh,
You will probably so you see that some of these are related. So you have different security threats. cyber warfare are related. You know, distrust is very often related with anti-multilateralism. So things go always together.
And the hot.
I think what the UN is trying to do is say, what are the three priorities that we want to focus on and do something about? And it's difficult when they are all related like that.
Yeah, and that is, sorry, go ahead.
I feel like I have some programs work that's very particular.
We covered it, yeah.
And not very particular. They are not contextualized.
You're absolutely, when you're going to contextualize, you even get more problems. In this, because then the solution is not obvious anymore. If these are all related, and you don't know the relationships exactly, then you don't know if you install one measure or one policy, what kind of effect it will give. And indeed, the idea of contextualization, poverty in Biafra, Afghanistan, is not the same as poverty in Coventry or poverty in South Africa. There are different kind of poverties. Same with vulnerability, same with dignity, same with... So, but of course, as a Secretary General or Prime Minister, you can go to your constituency and say, it's all very complex. I don't have the solution. Because then you're not going to be elected, for sure. So finding that middle way between, on the one hand, telling people it's not that easy.
I think it's a good thing.
And what politicians very often do, and especially with Trump's
they are just raising the one. They're not
and easy
And
solutions.
I do guess that
We have unemployment, kick the foreigners out.
yeah, exactly.
Easy
You said
problem,
about the
easy
digital
solution.
era. It's true,
And of course,
but it's not necessarily
we know
offering new opportunities.
that is a strange
Yeah.
kind of relationship. But how do we tell the people that don't know? How do we tell, let's say, those of us who think in the same kind of relationship?
Manual, yeah.
that's why I guess education could be.
No, but it's quite a challenge, and that's I think also what the UN wants.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to
Not
ask
only
you to
talk
move
to
on.
convert it, but also try to engage others with.
You can see there's a lot
That's
that
also
you
where it
could
starts,
do,
kind
a lot of work you could do on that.
confrontational thing like an activist.
Question 5 is key because this is really one of the major things they want to know. This is a guy who's the chief administrator of the UN system. He's got no power as such, although he can advise nations, but there's a big secretariat of several thousand people and he's the boss of that. And the advice he makes and the reports that he makes to the Security Council and the General Assembly, they listen to what he says. When he goes and visits a nation, they listen. What advice would you give him to address the global? We've just talked about some of the global issues. What advice would you give him about how to address the global issues? I'll give you 5 minutes. He has no power at all, except the power of what other states think.
On this, look at the nuclear part. I did nuclear oil and gas, or I did the US. There's a lot of really. So we are talking about putting security on those countries. Nuclear. Well, what's for those that are minding? Where is the Mexican?
It's a funny way, you can laugh now. Sometimes it's like scary, yeah.
So I was sent to the countries, and I was sent somewhere else. And I was in Brazil. And someone came to the United States. It wasn't known to say. Maybe I would like value this. Someone asked me that when you read this, now, don't the United Nations take control? What do you call that?
They can't.
Don't they know these countries? That are minding the
Of course, but that's a little bit the dilemma we're in. So it's not just the nuclear state, it's also the one who said it.
okay. Those that are minding, they really have
How do you get not that's the other 109.
If the ministers do go
Yeah, it's just up to you,
it's like the Nations
Yes. No, but
yeah, and that's
your
true.
complex
True of
starts kicking in. Very complexity starts kicking in. Because it has to do with poverty, with proper pay, with giving them good health services, with education to a certain extent. And you see that in the global south, these are very often absent. So there you can exploit people. You know, you pay them $2 more to do something without a gas mask.
Yeah, they're not saying.
No, but that again would be a normative statement. I absolutely agree with you. That's not the problem. The problem is not that I see things in the world which I wouldn't like to see. So if I had a magic stick and I could say 1, 2, 3, I want the world to be, and that would be easy.
It's just
That's not the problem. The problem is more make it more complex. And so I also, and I didn't say this,
You have like limited.
there is also hope in the world. And my hope is to seriously, that love amongst us is still much bigger force than hate. No matter what we see in terms of violence and wicked prime ministers. So, if I want to maintain something, if the world still exists in 2050, there's still hope. You know, there is still hope for the next 25 years and the next 25 years. And I think that is a big force in womankind. The hope for the next generation, the hope for tomorrow that we still live. But around us, we see all kinds of things that are discussed. And still, you know, that does not determine our overall hope forward. And if we would focus, that's a little bit the triathlon. The world, for me, seriously, everybody could travel, you know, get rid of the passports, get rid of the passports. Point then is, how do people travel? Hopefully not by planes, because then you have climate change. If you reduce air travel, you know, that it goes against your idea of people can go from Morocco to all the way.
It started before.
Okay. At least imagine that kind of pollution. That was so much pollution.
There will always be pollution.
No, it's not true. No, it's not true. Go back to the 16th century. There was a lot of things wrong. There was slavery and there was colonialism, etc., but there was no climate change. So, but that's a big debate. That's a big debate.
It was
absolutely
before
a
land. It's just a man-made attitude. Before we got the revolution.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even go that way of trying to prove who is right and who is wrong. It's also a kind of a belief. The word. Yeah.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I think if
I'm
we
going
would
to move
with
us on.
this mandate, we would go further than saying, no guys, who can't do anything.
I think that was a difficult
Just
question,
natural.
wasn't it?
And sit back and wait till it happens.
Okay. So, the next question is what action should be taken?
It's not the
So,
end of the world.
3 actions that you as an individual could take to make a better world for future generations, and 3 organisations that should take action. And so you need to pick from national government, local government, international organisations and so on. So they're looking for actions. What action should be taken? So again, this is not the UN now, not Secretary General, it's us and our, governments, businesses, schools, universities. So they're looking for ideas, what should be taken. So, to just spend a minute thinking about that, shall we? But, you know, we've nearly run out of time. Kate's got to go at 8, so think of one action you can take and one action that an organisation can take.
What I realize, and what is crucial, and it's also crucial for your generation, is to challenge conventional wisdom, question solutions, question traditions, question conventional wisdom. That is, you know, for me the solution. We question what we're doing. That includes, you know, climate, that includes nuclear, we question everything we do. I think that is much more rather than, and of course it's difficult. I want to go for the iPhone, you know, 11 Pro with the 3 cameras. I know. It's difficult. Even as a teacher, it's difficult to convince students to question. Because you also have to think of your career. You also have to think of your future and economics. It's not just like, no, I'm going to be a beggar, but hell, let's question a lot. So again, there is the complexity. So even though I say this, I also always question sometimes, you know, your family, but the solution for me is to question conditions.
No, but I mean, I was really surprised to see that.
I think there is, but you're right. How do you convince? And these are the problems. These are the wicked problems.
Personal cars.
If you don't have an answer to that for me would be a good question. And you might even not ever get the answer. But those questions that cannot easily be answered, and probably have no answers, how do we solve climate change? It's a good question because there is no easy answer to it. No, but again, there is technology that we know, and still the question why is it not used? And it's not simply we are also, it's also us. You are not going to stop flying. You're not start walking. You're not going to drive your car. Exactly. So it's not only that. It's a little more complex. We are, you know, travel, flying cars are so ingrained.
Yeah, we used to have that in schools.
In our brains that although we know issues,
but then it becomes natural.
we're still traveling across the world. You know, even for leisure, not only for necessity.
Sorry,
Move
on.
They were doing that like twice a year, I think. Something like that.
So, number 7 says what action or collaboration might be needed at local, national and international level. What action or collaboration might be needed? And if you just think about one of those, say local level. So I guess we're thinking about Coventry, aren't we, I guess? We should Coventry do action and collaboration.
Conferences.
What action is needed to solve?
To solve the problem that we've just
It's going to be a
seen.
local.
You know,
If it's Coventry, then it's.
just the kind of world we want.
Talking.
No, but talking is also not a solution.
Thinking. What you say?
No, talking, you're absolutely right. Talking in itself is not a solution. No.
It's not a solution. Thinking is a solution is more of the action.
How do you get to the action?
Well, it depends on who takes the action. There are Muslim extremists who think that they should take action. No, David Feller thought he had to take action. So it depends on what kind of action. And I'm quite sure we could be very disagreeable about what kind of actions. How violent it should be, how devastating it should be.
It is accessible.
So action, again, I put in this category of it should be contextualized. No, No, seriously, what kind of action are we talking about? Because we can also start talking and demonstrating. So I'm going to sit before a stop nuclear war, you know, and sit there for 14 days. Is that going to stop? Probably not. So is what Greenpeace is doing acceptable? Stopping ships, occupying, stopping trains, occupying things which are in violation of the law, technically speaking. Is that acceptable action? We actually, let's say, with 100 people go and block A40 against the law. You probably would, the police would come and pick you up, you would be arrested, you would go to jail.
Okay, we're going to move on to the final
acceptable action.
question. So, what is the role of the UN and other international institutions? So what type of role might they have and who should take on that role? How could they be as effective as possible? I mean, to answer this question, I think you need to know about what the UN does and what international institutions do. I think this is, I'd be interested to see what you come up with, because I'm not sure I can find an easy answer to this question. Anyway, that's the final question. Is it worth us spending time on that? Okay, let's spend a couple of minutes thinking about that then. Okay, you're going to have to go. I really thank you very much for coming.
Do you know about the UN, by the way? What kind of students are you? No, I mean, not in the what kind of students are you?
No, you're scientists, lawyers or engineers.
My colleagues over there, you know, that's very much.
All right, okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you would know an organization that's not necessarily UN. It's WHO. That is, World Health Organization. That would be your organization. So and that's quite interesting. That for every issue or problem or discipline, there is a comparative kind of diplomacy that the UN and the organizations. Where are you? All right. Okay. Yeah. And all right. So which is your organization?
The nuclear watchdog.
What?
All of that.
Yes. Or outside the UN?
Outside the UN.
Which is the most important oil and gas organization?
Be confident.
OPEC.
OPEC.
That's the oil producing countries with in themselves again a lot of power, because they can triple. They just close the out there. So, but you will each of you will find biomedicine is definitely WHO, and also in terms of career, you know, if you ever have a chance to go to Geneva and
okay,
study trips,
finally,
study trips to find them out.
You've answered the 8 questions, so I will now spend some time trying to process all this information, and there's a questionnaire I need to fill in. What else can you do? There's a short online survey with, it only takes a couple of minutes to answer that survey. So UN75.online. If you remember to mention UN75 in your social media posts, and if you want, you can organise your own conversation. So maybe we can do a similar conversation to this at university. Cool. And then there's a website, UN75.uk, which contains all of this information. So that's your main point of reference. I need your feedback. What do you feel? How did you feel this evening went? What did I do wrong? What was good about it? What was bad about it? Because this is the first time we've run it, and you can help us to make it better. How many people actually use the online survey? I don't think anybody did they?
I started it.
I did, but I haven't finished. I'm still on it.
You're going to finish it off?
I think we'd rather do it at home because we
Yeah.
obviously we had some
Yeah.
discussions here.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah. If
in
you
order
could-
to provide the right answer, I
Yeah.
think we need to spend some time to
Sure.
actually
Think about it. Think about it.
think about it, yeah, because we've discussed, we have the ideas, but we need to put it together.
Okay. All right, fantastic.
And
Thank you
also,
very
may
much.
I share it with our classmates?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
We should,
Yeah.
share it.
Fantastic.
In terms of feedback, I think sharing with the rest of the groups would have been a good idea, but obviously we don't have time to do it. But I think like sharing, discussing with
I
other
mean,
groups as well.
Really, this is a 2 hour exercise, at least 2 hour
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah,
And
probably
we're cramming it
even
into
more.
an hour.
But next time,
Yeah.
or in a bigger scale or something like
Yeah.
that, you know.
So you think we should have conversations and then feedback
As a
as
group.
a,
As a
group?
group, yeah. Because obviously there are some really sensitive issues and some important aspects to mention.
Yeah.
And I've heard some really interesting discussions over there on that table and over there as well.
Thank you.
Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, so if you've got any more feedback, I've got cards here. You can send me email about what you think. I'll give those out. That would be really great. Otherwise, fantastic. Thank you very much. Please
Thank you very much.
take the food, because otherwise I'm going to have to eat it. You know why I'm doing it. Do you guys want to try?
Yes, please.